Good morning, Detroit. Good morning, Highland Park. Welcome this Saturday morning, July 13, 2019. We're so excited to be here today on the Hello Detroit show. My name is Tyrone Winfrey, and I'm excited. This is the show normally where Reverend Dr. Jim Holley hosts, and today we're filling in for some mighty shoes again. And I'm excited because there's so much to talk about. So much to talk about today. We're going to talk about education. We're going to talk about voting. We got a panel today to talk about the importance of voting and also the 2020 election. This is exciting. Are you all excited this morning? Please call in this morning, 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351, 313-868-4336. Also, you can look at the web, www.tv33whpr.com. Again, my name is Tyrone Winfrey. Feel free to call in today to talk about education and voting. Also, I want to give a shout out before we go further to Keith Williams. Keith Williams was on a show this past Wednesday, and yesterday he had Soul Day. Soul Day was over on Rosa Parks, formerly 12th Street, and also the Joseph Walker Williams Center. And he had I heard over 4,000 people came out to Soul Day. Soul Day goes back to 1967, and Keith Williams has taken up the mantle. And they had vendors there. They had everything there. Things for the children, things for the adults. They had music. Larry Lee and his back in the day band played. It was so much going on yesterday over at Soul Day. So I was just going to give a shout out to Keith Williams and all the great work that he's doing with the Wayne County Sheriff's Office. And please call in today if you have anything else you would like to announce is going on in the community right here in the Detroit Metroplex. Detroit, Highland Park, the Detroit metropolitan area. Please call in, 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351, and 313-868-4336. Again, we're talking about education today. We're going to talk about the voting, the elections process for 2020. I don't know if you all realize we have a huge election next year. So we have a panel from the Detroit Department of Elections. We want you to call in, and we're going to have some information, and you can call in and kind of dialogue about the elections next year. You know, as I sit here today, and we talked about this before, there's a lot going on in Detroit. I have this booklet called The Rock Family of Companies for More Than Profit Detroit Impact. There's so much going on so far as the building in Detroit, like none other than I've seen in my lifetime. And the key thing is we want our people to be involved. This book, it talks about the New Hudson skyscraper, $1 billion project, you all. 1 million square feet so far as in retail, commercial, residential, and so forth. 1 million square feet, y'all. This will be the tallest building outside of Chicago, okay? It's taller than the Renaissance Center. And now we're getting this huge skyscraper. Somebody has to build that, okay? And then also, next door to that, we have the Monroe Block. The Monroe Block is an $800 million project. Also, that's almost $1 billion as well. So this is also going to be 1 million total square feet. Also in this booklet, it talks about, just looking through this booklet here, it talks about the Campus Marshes expansion, $95 million expansion. We're talking about the Book Tower restoration, $313 million in restoration investment. You can go on and on about what's just going on. City Modern, have y'all been over to Brush Park lately? You remember those Brush Park mansions? Remember, what was the restaurant over there? Edmonds Place. Edmonds Place is gone, y'all. So they're restoring the mansions, but they've also built a huge number of apartment complexes or condos over there, basically called City Modern, okay? This is going on right now. All this building, all these things are going on, all this development. And the key thing is that there are jobs out there for our young people, our adults in the skilled trade. So we want you to get involved in that. My colleague, Ms. Prudence Rose, is not here today with me, but you should go to www.mustcareers.com to find out about all these different types of skilled trades that are being offered. The key thing about skilled trades, I'm finding out, is that you have to apply. From there, the application process, you go to an interview. From the interview, you eventually go on to take some type of testing. And then from the testing, eventually you can be placed in an apprenticeship where you're working and you're also going to school at the same time. Listen to these different types of positions or skilled trades that are out there now. Asbestos and abatement workers, boiler makers, bricklayers and restoration workers, carpenters, cement masons, construction craft laborers, drywall finishers, electrical workers, electrical constructors, now elevator constructors, glazers and glass workers, y'all, heat and frost insulators, iron workers. Every building you build has to have iron, so you have to have some iron workers, millwrights, operating engineers, painters, pipe fitters, refrigeration, also air conditioning service, plasterers, plumbers, roofers, waterproofers, sheet metal workers, sprinkler fitters, tile, marble, and terrazzo masons. There's so many different things that we can get involved in. So we want you to go again to www.mustcareers.org online and start applying for these apprenticeship positions. I was told by someone in the construction area, if we don't get Detroiters, we're going to go out of state and get these workers. So Detroiters, Highland Park, Hamtramck, all those in the metropolitan area, this is for you. So please go on, find out about what's going on. And I just listed some of the major projects. There are a lot of smaller projects going on all throughout the neighborhood. Look at 7 Mile in Livernois area. What's going on over there? They're building a new building right at the corner. Y'all remember what Cunningham's drugstore and B. Siegel's was? That's changing. A new complex is coming there. They're redoing the streets landscape of Livernois. So there's so much going on in our city that we can get involved in. This is a new Detroit 2.0. And as we talk about Detroit also, we're celebrating a birthday this year. Yay, Detroit. Detroit was founded on July 24th, 1701. A gentleman by the name of Sieur Antoine de Layamouth Cadillac sailed from Quebec, Canada. He came to Detroit. He started building Fort Pontchartrain du Detroit on July 24th, 1701. People say, well, Detroit was founded because of the car industry, because of this, because of that. No, Detroit was founded because of the fur industry. King Louis XIV over in France and his aristocrats, they loved fur. They loved mink. They loved beaver. They loved all the different types of fur that they could wear, wolf and deer and so forth. Whatever fur, they had it, all right? And they found out eventually that they could not get any more animals for fur, whatever the situation was going on. They had typed out animals over there in Europe and Poland and France and all that. So they turned to the New France. The New France was pretty much Canada all the way to Louisiana. And the French, you know, this was their land at one time. And so King Louis XIV and his naval commander, Louis Philippe, they commissioned Antoine de Layamouth Cadillac to start Fort Pontchartrain du Detroit on the 24th of July, 1701. Detroit in the French means the Straits, du Trois. And so, therefore, we're celebrating our birthday. As you know, Detroit did become a huge manufacturing center for iron, for shipbuilding, for stoves, you name it, you go on. And then eventually in that was in the 1800s, 1900s, you know, the car industry, Charles Brady King, March of 1896, drove that famous car that's over in Detroit Historical Museum. You can see the first car that was built in Detroit, and he drove it down Woodward Avenue. A few months later, in June of 1896, Henry Ford drove his horseless carriage or car down Woodward Avenue, and that was the beginning of it. Henry Ford was an engineer at Detroit Illuminating Company, which was the forerunner for Detroit Edison, and then which was the forerunner for DT Energy. And the rest is history. You can talk about the Fisher brothers, Walter P. Chrysler, Charles Durant, who helped start General Motors. You can go on and on about what our city did to put the world on wheels. And we're celebrating our 318th birthday, you all, on this coming July 24th, 2019. So let's talk about that. How should we celebrate, you all? Tell us how we should celebrate the process of Detroit's birthday, 2019. Let's talk about that as well. So again, and at 8:30 hour, we're going to start talking about the elections process for next year. I'm excited. Are you excited? Now we're not going to bash any candidates. We're not going to talk about who you should vote for and all that. The main thing is voting. It is so important, you all. No matter who your candidate is, you need to fulfill that right. And we want to begin the dialogue about next year, 2020. One last thing before we go to our break, as we talk about education, and we talk about the skilled trades, and we talk about Detroit, the other thing is that I would like to discuss this morning is the process for getting into our colleges and universities. As you know, this is the summer, and a lot of students have graduated back in June, some in May, and they're headed to our 5,000 plus colleges and universities across this nation, community colleges, universities, you name it. And some students are looking at, how do I get into college next year? How do I get into college or university in 2 years? Parents, it is an arduous process. It is a huge process. Our universities have become so competitive. So we want to make sure that you know the process. The main thing is college and universities look at two sets of rules. One are called qualitative measures, and the other are called quantitative measures. The quantitative, yes, they're going to look at your child's grade point average. That's important. But parents, we get so caught up in what is a GPA. My son has a 4.0. My daughter's a 3.8. College and universities, yeah, they're concerned about that. But the key thing about that goes along with that is the curriculum. How many advanced classes do they have? How many honors classes do they have? How many AP or IB, International Bachelor classes, do they have? The curriculum is so important. And when you talk about quantitative, you need to make sure that your students are very much involved in doing well in math, science, social studies, foreign language, and English. Those are the 5 main core classes that colleges and universities look at. That's critical. And then from there, also another quantitative measure is what is called the ACT test. ACT stands for American College Test. SAT stands for Scholastic Aptitude Test. Those two measures, or sometimes in some cases, gatekeepers or barriers, are extremely critical. So if you have a 10th grader, a 9th grader, 11th grader, or even in middle school, keep them involved in those core classes, and also their testing is going to be critical, and their curriculum is going to be critical. When you look at the qualitative things, their essays, students have to be able to write essays about themselves, tell a story about who they are, and tell a story about their life and so forth. That's critical. Also, counselor recommendations, teacher recommendations are very important. And there's another category called leadership. We want your students have to be involved in leadership activities. College and university not just looking at the GPA, y'all. They're looking at all those different types of factors. So that's critical. Also, when your son or daughter applies to college or university, there is a process I compare it to buying an automobile. The first thing is going to be an outreach stage. Your son or daughter will receive information in the mail so far as, based on their test scores or based on some information they filled out. And it's like, you get information to come buy a car at a dealership. That's called outreach. Outreach is college and universities buy ACT and SAT scores, you all. They buy your students' names, addresses, email addresses, phone numbers, and all that. That's a process that's legal. That's basically saying once they check a certain box, they can, on the ACT or SAT application process, they can basically have their information sent all over the nation, okay? And universities buy that information. So they send your kids information in the mail to say, come to our college day program on campus or whatever. And when they come to that, that's called prospect. They're going from an outreach to a prospect. Just like you going into the dealership to buy the car. You're a prospective customer. Once you say, oh, I like this university or I like this car, now you fill out an application. So you're going from an outreach to a prospect to an applicant. An applicant is basically where you fill out the application for the college just like you fill out the application to purchase the automobile. And then after the applicant stage, you go to an admit stage. An admit stage is saying that now you have the qualifications to come to our university or college. And then from there, just like buying a car, I can buy this Ford, I can buy this Gym or whatever. you go to a kind of a follow-up stage because they're trying to get you to pay your deposit. They're trying to get you to yield. So therefore, you go from an outreach to a prospect to an applicant to admit to a yield. The yield is saying I'm paying a deposit because I'm going to buy this car, I'm going to this university, and then the last thing is to enroll. I look at that as when you drive the car off the lot. So the universities have a process. They start with outreach. They go from outreach to prospect, applicant, admit. They go to follow-up, yield, and enroll. So those are some of the key things you need to know as your students apply to these universities across this land. We have a call on line 2. You're on the air with Tyrone Winfrey on Hello Detroit. Caller? Oh, we lost our caller. Okay, I guess they got upset. They got off the air. But anyway, so skilled trades, education, Detroit, and then also voting. Those are the 4 main subject areas we want you to talk about today. If there's some other topic that you have that you want to talk about, feel free to call in. What's going on in the city of Detroit? I'm excited about Detroit. You can't talk about my city. We're not going to talk negative about the city of Detroit because, again, it's a great time in our city. Yes, when it was founded, it was for a great purpose. And then eventually we did a lot of things, again, to put the world on wheels and so forth. And then, again, we had some challenges. Let's be honest. In the 60s, going back to the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, we had some challenges in our city. And we have survived that, and we're still here. We have a lot of newcomers. Some people are still here. But we're all in this together. This is the new Detroit. So, again, you can call in about Detroit. You can call in about education. You can call in about skilled trades. The building process was going on. And then eventually, in a few minutes, we'll turn it over to the elections panel that's here today to talk about the elections process. The numbers, again, are 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351, or 313-868-4336. Our website, we're streamed across the land, so to speak, www.tv33whpr.com. So you can stream us as well. We're on channel 33. We're on channel 91 Comcast and channel 20 on the Reverend Dr. Jim Holley Network. So good morning, Detroit. Good morning, Detroit and Highland Park, Hamtramck, all those that are listening across the metropolitan area. We're so excited. Detroit it's a beautiful day. What are you doing today on this July 13th? You're excited? You're going on different things happening. I know down at the Prince's Boat today at 11 o'clock, Bishop Charles H. Ellis, my pastor, is having his annual Cruising with the Bishop. And we still have tickets for that if people want to come down for that, 11 o'clock today. It's going to be a great time cruising on the boat. So a lot of things going on in Detroit. Call in and let us know. We have a call on line 3. You're on the air with Tyrone Winfrey. Hello, Detroit.
Yes, we do. Hello, Detroit, and hello, Tyrone Winfrey.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. This is Theo Broughton with Hood Research.
Yeah, who is this calling in?
Theo Broughton.
The Theo Broughton. How you doing, Miss Broughton?
That's right. Well, Hood Research, you want to hear about something good.
Tell me about something good this morning, Miss Broughton.
Hood Research is 27 years old this month.
Okay. 27 years old?
27 years old. And we're celebrating today.
Celebrating today. Where are you going to celebrate today?
At the Dabo Center.
The Dabo Center. And give us the address of the Dabo Center.
It's 12048 Grand River, right on the corner of Grand River and Wyoming.
Grand River and Wyoming. The Dabo Center celebrating 27 years today.
That's right. We're going to be there from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay. Now, what's going to take place at this celebration from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m.?
We're going to have some surprises. We're going to have refreshments.
Okay.
We're going to have some speakers who are going to share information.
Okay.
And if you can fit us into your busy schedule today, anywhere between 2 and 6, we want you and the viewers to come on down.
Well, we want the listeners, the viewers, to come down to Wyoming and Grand River, the Dabo Center. 27 years been going on, making it happen over there. Reverend Sheffield and Theo Broughton and all the folks over there at the Dabo Center.
Throughout the city. And we gather information and share it with the community.
Okay.
we ask others if they have information that they want to share.
Okay.
We're going to have some attorneys there, and the gentleman is going to talk about the issues with this water runoff that people are being challenged with. And we know that there are some projects going on in the city to relieve the flooding that people experience.
Yes.
We have someone who's going to talk about that as well as your legal rights. We have attorneys you can ask anything about your legal rights.
Well, Ms. Broughton, I see you got it going on over there, and we are concerned about what's going on over there with the water, and hopefully that will be corrected. And I know some people are being inconvenienced over there on the east side, and we just know the city of Detroit going to make it happen.
Right. They had to put sandbags to try and protect businesses on the east side and their homes from flooding. So that information, will be shared along with other as well. We have tickets to the Herbie Hancock concert.
Okay.
Somebody can win. So,
you got some tickets to win. Okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to give us some good news. People can.
Okay. Give us that address one more time, Ms. Broughton.
120 Grand River. 120 Grand River on the corner of Wyoming.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling in and letting us know that information. And keep up all the great work you are doing. I met Ms. Theo Broughton years ago when I was, even before I was fortunate to be on the Detroit Board of Education. Right. But when I was on the board, I just know I learned of her great work in the city, her being a pillar. And so, Ms. Broughton, keep up all the great work that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Okay, God bless you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. The Dabo Center celebrating 27 years today. You heard about it from Ms. Theo Broughton. It's on the corner of Wyoming and Livernois. And today they're celebrating
Grand River. Wyoming and Grand River.
Wyoming, I'm talking about Livernois. I'm still thinking about that construction up there. Wyoming and Grand River. Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. And so we salute her for all the great work that she's doing, and get over there today between 2 and 6 p.m. All right. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Detroit. Hello, Detroit again. This is normally the Reverend Dr. Jim Holley Show. This is Tyrone Winfrey. Has a few times I've been able to be here for Reverend Holley, and he's taking a little break today. And so we're excited. We're talking about Detroit and what's going on in our city. We're leading up to our 318th birthday, July 24th, 1701, we were founded. We're also talking about education, talking about colleges and going back to the universities. We're talking about the skilled trades, the building that's going on in Detroit. And then as we move to the 8:30 hour, we're going to talk about the elections process for next year, the voting process. We have the Detroit Department of Elections. We have a panel that will be here. So we want you to call in 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351, 313-868-4336, or www.tv33whpr.com. You can stream us on the web. We're on Channel 33. We're on Channel 20, Channel 91. So we're everywhere that you want us to be. Thank you. So we're going to go to a break, and then we're going to bring on the Detroit Department of Elections. Talk about the voting process. Thank you, Detroit, and hello, Detroit.
I will say a little prayer for you, and I will always care for you. Hello.
You can have your own party on TV. Party with R.J. Watkins and the TV33 family when you hold your own Facebook watch party. Connect all your friends with our friends, and we can have a watch party together. Watch your favorite TV shows when you want, how you want, with your favorite people. Here's how it works. Log on to Facebook from your computer or tablet and go to the R.J. Watkins fan page at facebook.com/TV33WHPR. The one with the blue WHPR logo on the left. Like us. Click the word videos with the red tag that says live next to it. Then click the share button at the bottom of the video player and select start a watch party. Invite whoever you want. Your party will be recorded and archived for playback anytime you want. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. At the end of the month, the viewer that has the most people at their watch party will be invited on the TV show live. Come on, let's have a party.
Today's energy in all large buildings are controlled through an energy management system. In this program, learning microprocessing and electronics is very valuable. These skills are a global skill. To be able to make a building function, just a phenomenal feeling. I'm faculty and I teach HVAC, furnace, hydronics, refrigeration. There's just some phenomenal people here. Coming to this college, no one ever turned me down to help promote me in my career and promote young people in our community as well as women. I would implore anyone from the community to take advantage of this educational opportunity. It's still affordable and provides a great lifestyle. You grow a confidence and you grow it from being educated.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Hi, this is Brenda Perryman, and you can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Fridays at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern.
I had an uncle that was a welder. He welded on the trains back in the day. A welder put two pieces of metal together. We blended it in just like it's nothing was there. As it comes together, it's just like a poetry in motion. I want to be a welder. It's a wonderful program. They're investing in your skill. They're invested in you because they feel that you can do it. Women, guys, everybody was just involved working together, hands-on. The staff here was just very open to saying, okay, you know, you need some help. One of the instructors adjusted me a little bit and got my hands on the right form, and I was off and running. It made me feel like, okay, if they can do it, I know I can do it. And I just kept on pushing, and I did good. And it made me so happy and proud. Working on that bridge from Canada to Michigan, that's where I would be at, guaranteed.
You've seen him on the red carpet, you've seen him on the sidelines, you've seen him on the stage. The hottest looks in urban fashion from the biggest name in urban fashion, Van Dyke's. Now pick out 3, pay for 1. 3 suits for 1. Van Dyke's, 10 Mile and Southfield Road. You've seen him at the clubs, you've seen him in the boardroom, you've seen him on the pulpit. Now get them at Van Dyke's. 3 suits for 1. Suits for the workplace, for the club scene, to be seen in. Pick out 3, pay for 1. Van Dyke's, 10 Mile and Southfield Road.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
Hi, this is LaWanda. You can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern.
There is not another culinary or hospitality academy located in the city of Detroit.
There's a lot of people teaching culinary arts, but they're not teaching the business side of it.
We're opening up another kitchen for the Cleary Culinary Academy. We're going to bring a Cleary mind to every kitchen in downtown Detroit.
But when we talk about a Cleary mind, we're talking about a student that can make a definite impact.
We want to be a part of all the wonderful food establishments, restaurants, and the food scene in general in downtown Detroit.
You can have your own party on TV.
I'm involved in the CDL program here, CDL training. A new beginning to be able to start my own business I had worked prior to doing the CDL training, driving for a waste management company. A friend of mine called me. He said, Sam, I know what we can do. We could get into the car hauling business, but we got to get our Class A license. That was it. This is the calling. You got to go to the school and take advantage of the program that was being offered. It was hard, but we had instructors that didn't want to see you fail, that wants to help, that wants to push you. They had the hands-on actual experience. And today I'm sitting here, a successful CDL holder. Now success looks brighter. If you feel inside comfortable enough to say, this is what I want, this is where I want to be, this is what I want to do, go for it.
I will say a little prayer for you, and I will always care for you. Hello.
Good morning, good morning. Hello, Detroit, Highland Park, Hamtramck, the Detroit metropolitan area. We're so excited this morning. I'm Tyrone Winfrey, filling in for Reverend Dr. Jim Holley. He's on a little break today. And we're talking about several things today. We talked about education, to some degree, the skilled trades, what's going on in Detroit. Detroit's birthday is coming up. 318 years on July 24th, 1701 it was founded. So we celebrate this coming July 24th, 2019. So we're excited about that. We've also talked about the skilled trades to some degree, but also I'm excited because at this hour we have Janice Marie Winfrey, my wife, as well as the Detroit Department of Elections. Let's clap it up. Woo, 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 woo. All right, listening audience, 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351, 313-868-4336. And Janice Winfrey, her and I have been married for 32 years, and she is the Detroit City Clerk. She's also the chairperson of the Detroit Elections Commission. Ms. Winfrey, how you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Tell us what's going on with the Department of Elections and yourself.
Well, let me just say this, Tyrone. Education, employment, and elections.
Okay.
That's what we're about.
That's what you're about?
That's what we're about.
Okay.
And I'm so, so proud of you and the work that you've done in the city of Detroit, and just for inviting us here to allow us to talk about those three things. Those three things have always been the focus of our relationship and marriage, and so to publicly talk about it is amazing for me. But I brought my team with me.
What do you have here? That's what I'm excited.
I brought my team with me because I realized, and we realized, is that teamwork is the fuel that allow common people to attain uncommon results. And that's what we're about at the Department of Elections. So I have with me my director, George Zeus. George, share and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, just became Director of Elections at the top of the year. I've been with the department for approximately 30 years. I started from the bottom level. I worked my way up through various divisions throughout the department. And I am excited about next year. All right. 2020.
All right, 2020. Hey, out there in the audience, 2020. George Zeus. Okay, who else do you have?
We have George Haygood.
George and George?
George and George. Zeus and Haygood. Mr. Haygood is our deputy director.
All right, tell us a little about yourself, Mr. Haygood.
I started at entry level at the City of Detroit Elections, working in the equipment division. Moved my way up to supervisor. Then division head. And also at the top of the year, I became deputy director over the equipment division.
Wow. Wow. So we got the director, the deputy director, and we have the clerk.
Absolutely.
So 2019, no election, is that correct?
First time ever. Since I've been clerk anyway.
And how long have you been clerk?
I've been clerk for 13 years.
13 years. Was elected in 2005. Clap it up. So Mrs. Winfrey has been, my wife, has been in office since 2000 and was elected in 2005, started in 2006. First time no election, but next year, 2020, what's going on?
Yeah, well, let me talk about 2019.
Okay, talk about 2019
let us
first.
talk
Okay.
about 2019.
Okay.
2019, this year is exciting for us because for the first time in over a decade, we're able to plan intensely for an upcoming election. Something that we've never been able to do before. We've always planned, of course, but this particular season allows us to plan deeply. We're able to participate in training of ourselves, professional development for not only the administrative staff, but for the rest of the staff. Everyone is going through training. We're introducing new processes. Last year, Proposal 3 was passed. And that works for Detroiters. That's to our advantage. Although, and George is going to, Azus is going to talk about that in a few minutes. But it's this year, 19, for the first time, we're able to really get deeply involved in the process of administering elections from the history to where we stand today.
Okay. So Proposal 3. What was Proposal 3? I just,
George, you want to talk about
Well, Tyrone, there are many components of Proposal 3. But the main ones that are going to affect the voters are registration and absentee voting. Now, when you go to the Secretary of State and complete a driver's license or a state ID transaction, you'll be automatically registered to vote.
So wait a minute. So when you fill out the application for your driver's license, you're automatically registered?
Automatically registered to vote.
What? Okay.
Yes,
All right.
Unless you decline. You have an option to decline on the form.
Okay.
Then moving forward, there is no longer a close of registration 30 days prior to election. Now registration does not close until the close of polls, which is huge. That's huge.
That's huge.
But,
That's huge, y'all.
But you can only register by mail up to 15 days before the election. So I think that's very important for the voters to know. Or the citizens to know, I should say. After 14 days, up to election, close of polls election day, you must register in person at the clerk's office. Okay. So on that note, we plan to expand the clerk's office. We already have satellites. We're going to add additional satellites where the citizens can come register and vote an absentee ballot if they wish.
And George, may I ask you, now clerks are required to have satellites, correct?
I'm not sure if they're required or it's just suggested or it's just an option now.
So
I don't know if it was an option before or...
It's always been an option. Detroit has always done it. We've done it since 2010, I believe, when we started. But I just would like our residents, our citizens to know that, now clerks across the state of Michigan are required to do something that we've always done. Well, we've been doing for the last almost decade.
What they're required to do is be available the weekend before the election, a total of 8 hours, whether it's 8 hours on Saturday, 8 hours on Sunday, or 4 and 4, or the combination. That's what they're required, one or the other.
We've always done that.
We've always done that. That's correct.
But let me ask you, Mr. George. We got George and George. We got Janice. Janice, George, and George. Okay, so is there some way you all are giving out some great information? Am I right, listeners? Those in the audience, they're giving out some great information. Is there somewhere, whether it's on the web or whether it's printed somewhere, that talks about some of those things you just talked about?
Well, there at the state website there is information, and that's where we've been gathering our information. But our department plans to do a voter education campaign coming up soon.
Got it.
Through, I think Mrs. Winfrey can elaborate on that.
Yeah, so we always do a direct mail newsletter to our registered voter households, every registered voter household.
What's the name of that?
The Election Connection.
Election Connection.
And that comes out.
Election Connection, y'all. Make sure you read it.
That's 30 days prior to every election. And remember, we have 3 elections in 2020, the presidential primary, the regular primary, and then the general election in November. So our voters will get lots of information. We also are implementing a brand new website. The Department of Elections is interactive, whereby citizens can go to that site and type in their name, search, and then their political composition will come up. Political composition tells you where you go and vote, who's in your district, the elected official in your district. We'll have pictures that go with it. We'll have maps that are printable. We'll have election results, as we always do, but we'll have an archive of those election results from past elections. So we're excited about that.
And don't forget about our text alerts.
Text alerts.
Text
Talk about
alerts
that,
for any
George.
information that the polling location may change.
Okay.
Upcoming deadlines. A reminder, election day's coming. Things like that.
Well, I want you to put a pin in that one. I want to talk about the election, the polling changes. But Janice, can you give us the election dates so far as?
Yeah, so the presidential primary is
March 10th.
March 10th.
Okay.
August the 3rd.
That's the general primary, August 3rd.
That's the August the 4th is the primary.
The regular primary.
Okay.
And November the 3rd is the general.
So March the 10th
March
is
the
for the presidential primary.
That is correct.
And then
August the 4th
August
is
the
for
4th
primary.
is the regular general primary.
And then the general is November the 3rd.
November the 3rd. Okay. Everybody get those dates? If you didn't get those dates, you're going to be able to go on the state website. Also, the Department of Elections is going to send you alerts and so forth.
It'll be on our website as well.
On your website. Now, speaking of polling change, sometimes I've gone out, people said, you know, I'm supposed to vote here, I'm voting in a different place now, and I didn't know. How do you inform them?
So we always let voters know in writing directly to their home when they have a polling location change.
Okay.
That's required by law. They also get a new voter ID card. But I'd like for Mr. Haygood to talk about polling places and polling locations because that's his expertise.
Okay.
That as well as the machine. So if he would share with us.
And before Mr. Haygood, I have to say this about Mr. Haygood. I mean, how many polling sites are there?
There's 204 polling sites currently.
204, and he has to staff all these different places, and they're mostly in schools and churches and so forth. So tell us about that process.
Well, it's a process where I go out and I survey the city of Detroit and find the best possible buildings to use as a polling site.
Okay.
To make sure they meet all our standards.
Okay.
Adequate lighting, plumbing. Also, working with organizations like Wild Warriors on Wheels.
Okay.
For voters that are physically challenged, we've been working with them to make sure that all our polling locations are ADA compliant.
Okay.
And I'm happy to say that all 204 are ADA compliant.
The ADA compliant. Oh my God. We're clapping up this morning. Wake up, Detroit. Wake up. We're clapping up for the Department of Elections and the compliance. All right, go ahead.
So we do that to make sure that all our voters have a good election day experience.
Okay.
And any complaints we receive, we handle it right away.
Okay, good.
So we got a good track record in that area.
Okay. Wow, so you got your polling places. How many precincts are there altogether?
There's 503 precincts.
So what's the difference between a polling place and a precinct?
Well, the precincts are housed in the polling location at the polling place, and you can have up to 5 to 7 precincts, depending on how big within the polling location.
So I think in layman's term, I like to say that the precinct is the table where you go and actually receive your ballot inside of the polling location.
So the precinct is, so when I go to my precinct, my polling place, they're like 5 different lines and so forth.
Tables. Those are precincts.
Those are the precincts.
Yes.
How do you determine what precinct? I mean, how do people get designated for a certain precinct?
That's a good question, Mr. Azus. George?
How do people get designated?
Like, how do I know
it's
that?
According to geographical boundaries where they live, the representation that they have with their state representative and their state senate and their Congress and so on and so forth, and their city council district.
Wow, that makes up the precinct.
That makes up the precinct, that's correct.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Are you going to add something?
Well, I was going to say the same thing. It's by the political boundaries that the precincts are made
So your
up.
political boundaries determine where you vote?
Yes.
Determine your precinct that you precinct you vote in, and then we try to geographically place those precincts as close as possible to the residents, so they don't have far to travel to go vote.
That's excellent. All right.
So where your address fall in those boundaries determine where you go vote.
Wow. Wow. Callers, we got the panel above all panels here today. Janice Winfrey, George Azus, and George Haygood. call in 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351, or 313-868-4336. We're talking about 2020. Okay, next year we want you to know what's going on. Please call in. So tell us more, Janice.
Well, I just wanted to. So we talked about your theme today is education, employment, and elections, and we talked about elections. But I'd like to also talk about the education part of what we're doing.
Okay.
We're in these schools, every public school and private in the city of Detroit. We visit every last high school to ensure that our young people not only are registered to vote, but they know what the voting experience is and why it's important, and what they do once they go to the polls. So we register them. We also sign them up to work the polls with us on election day. They can work the polls at 16 years and older. They can work with us on election day. We also house interns from our high schools. Even now, we have a couple of interns at the clerk's office currently, and we expect a couple of more at the Department of Elections before the summer is over with. So, and at the elementary level, we are currently in the schools by way of career days. They love for us to come in, and the deputy clerk and I will go into the various elementary schools. We've even adopted an elementary school, Bagley School, and we just share with them in a way that they can understand what elections are and who would like to be the president. And we do little mock things like, who would like to be the line captain today? They'll raise their hands and we'll write their little names on the board. We'll choose 5, write their names on the board, and then we'll take an actual poll in the class, or a vote, if you will. Who would like little Johnny to be the line captain today? And they'll raise their hands. And so they get to see what voting actually is on an elementary level. And we always leave them with a little state flag, a flag of the, city flag, the flag of the city of Detroit. We're working to expand in the schools at the middle school level. We're still, that's kind of challenging for us, because it's challenging for the middle schoolers. But we're working on a project. I've always wanted to do a museum, an election museum on the 4th floor, in the invite the middle school students to come in and kind of tour and see the voting machines from the curtains that we experienced our first election until the process that we use now. So we're in the process of revamping our 4th floor, and so that we can realize that kind of activity, so that we can engage the children at every level. And of course, at the college level, they can vote and actually work with us full-time and or part-time.
So you go into every high school? Every high school in the city of
Register
the voters. You help them to vote on, work on election day. So, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. That's
You're
important.
getting the young people involved. We got a caller on line 3 and line 1. Call on line 3. You're on the air with Tyrone Winfrey, Janice Winfrey, George Haygood, and George Azus. Hello, caller?
Hello.
Yes. Go ahead with your question or comment.
I'm great, and I have a question pertaining to Miss Winfrey, and also George and George too. What are the challenges between the age of 18 and 30 that, out of 13 years, Miss Winfrey, that you've noticed that actually need to be changed as far as getting those individuals into voting?
Okay, so the main thing is, your caller, if I'm correct, you're saying between 18 and 30, what are the challenges, the millennials, to get them to vote?
Yeah, it is a challenge. It is a challenge. And, the way we approach it is that we try and involve them in the process. I hire millennials. I have a whole section on the 3rd floor of the Department of Elections and in the clerk's office of just millennials. We recruit them from the universities and the colleges to work with us on election day. And we do it because we realize if we can get them to work with us, we can get them to participate in the process. But that's a small thing on a small level, City of Detroit. I think I think globally, I think the millennials have a different mindset as it relates to the democratic process. We hold think tanks and we talk about it because there's a problem nationally, you're alluding to, with the millennials and their participation in the voting process. And they, from what I understand, the democratic process that we know, they don't really embrace it, and they're not really supporting it, and consequently, they aren't participating in the process globally.
So what we're going to do, caller, we're going to go to a break. We have one more caller, but let's get into that in the next hour. How do we get these young people to vote? 18 to 30, you're saying, which is very critical. What else, caller, did you have to say?
Well, I clearly understand where you were coming from pertaining to that. I'm thinking, what about the underserved families, the ones that are not interested, touching those families that the 18 to 30, they may think that they're just not interested in voting, getting those individuals out. I understand the millennials. I have a group that I know that are eager to vote. But what about the ones that we are just not touching? It's something innovative needs to happen to get them part of that process.
Okay,
I agree.
Well, let's do this in the next hour. Let's talk about that innovation. So if you want to call back in, we're going to take another caller and then go to our break. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Calling you on line one with Tyrone Winfrey and Janice Winfrey, George Azus, and George Haygood.
Yes, the millennium came out for Obama, and they seen Obama give a waiver to the mayor and send $70 million annual dollars to Wyandotte, and he was the president of everybody but the black voters. That's why they're not going to show up. And secondly, they are transit population. They've never been attacked. But I would say this, on the election, I'm going to ask the clerk, why is it every year since you've been in office, we cannot get a unofficial count that night, and we cannot get an official count to a month or 2 months later? What's happening to our ballot when we cast when it takes you that long to do that? And you had a new machine last election, and I called repeatedly. It never got what the official count was. That's why a lot of people stopped voting, because the integrity of our vote.
So my friend, this is my favorite call. Just hold on. We're going to get your question answered. We're up against the break. So the main thing you want to know is about the official count versus the unofficial count.
No, I want...
Okay, we got you.
He's talking about result reporting, correct?
Go ahead.
So the thing is, you're misinformed. So by the 11 o'clock news, we always have all of our unofficial results reported since I've been the clerk.
That's not true. I called down and I...
Let me
her respond.
Let me explain something. You might be a little confused with the unofficial and the official results. So our unofficial results are always reported by the 11 o'clock news. And that's why if you watch the news, the 2, 4, and 7, and the station as well, you'll see the unofficial results for the city of Detroit, always since I've been elected. Official results cannot come out until the county certifies the election. That's a 2-week process. That's out of our hands. That's state law. It's required. And so 2 weeks after the elections are certified by the county, and the Georges can talk about that in depth for you if you'd like, then and only then will the results be considered official. But Detroit has unofficial results out every election night by the 11 o'clock news.
So what we're going to do, caller, we're going to take a break. I know you probably will call back in and get more of your question answered. But again, so the night of the election is the unofficial count, then the county certifies it in the state as well?
That is correct.
And then you get the official count?
That is correct.
Okay. We're going to go to a break. We're with the Department of Elections, Janice Winfrey, City Clerk, George Azus, Director of the Department of Elections, and George Haygood, Deputy Director We're going to be here after the 9 o'clock hour. We're going to a break. Hello, Detroit. Hello, Highland Park. Hello, everybody out there. Call in. Let's talk about 2020 elections.